Hello everybody, my name is Aud and welcome back to the Aud Narrations channel. Today we're reading a story titled, My Husband Slept with a Prostitute a Week After I Was Sexually Assaulted. Trigger warning, sexual assault. As always, if you enjoy these videos and want to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button, that way you won't miss the latest upload. Alrighty, let's make a start. I just found out last night, so I'll do my best. It's pretty much the title. In April 2022, I was sexually assaulted by a massage therapist. I've been working through a lot of trauma. When it happened, I went to intensive therapy 5 times a week, and I'm still currently in therapy. I've dealt with a lot of guilt and severe depression as a result. During my first week of intensive therapy, he had to go to DC for work. I remember feeling like he was really distant during the trip, but I figured he needed time to decompress because the assault was a lot. In May 2021, I found out he was chatting with other women for the first 9 months of our relationship, 2020. We weren't that serious during these 9 months when I'd found out. We'd already had our daughter, so I'd committed to forgiving him and doing the work. I told myself some shit about love and vulnerability over fear, but now I feel dumb. Fast forward to this past week, my depression has seriously been flaring up to the point where I needed to go to safety planning with my therapist a couple days ago. We were in couples counselling, and I talked to the therapist about my residual feelings, despite finding out 2.5 years ago. She gave us an assignment that basically led him to confessing last night that he had slept with 2 prostitutes. Whoa! That went from 0 to 100. The first one was shortly after we'd gotten married in 2021, months after I found out about the first infidelity, and the second one was on the aforementioned DC trip. He claims in DC he ended up sending her away because he was too grossed out by it and felt too guilty, but I can't believe anything he says. I can't even believe this was the only time. He didn't just betray me, he betrayed our kids. My older daughter, who he has brought up adopting since he's the only father figure she's known, she's 5, was already abandoned when she was 1, and now he puts me in a position where I have to choose forgiving him and attempting to mend trust, which feels impossible, or leaving and uprooting the kids' lives. When we met, I was a single mum, but I had a good career path in higher ed and had bought a pretty decent home for me and my daughter. I put my career on hold to raise our kids, because he considers both his, so that he can have his space and grow his demanding career. And this is what he's done with this space. I have nothing to my name. I sold my home to move into his house, the cars are in his name, and I have to ask him to send me money whenever I need it. I feel so dumb for not realizing all the ways he's been treating me like a tenant in his life and doing the bare minimum commitment. I'm even convinced he only married me because he's a successful executive at a conservative company where you have to sign a morality contract that does not allow for extramarital sex. In my angrier moments, I threw a £1,000 Italian suit into the pool and threatened to tell his boss how he was using the company-funded hotel room. I do think the suit will be fine. I fished it out and rinsed it, but he has other nice clothes. I'm also going through all the feels. I actually feel less depressed today than I have all week. I don't know if it's a blind rage or clarity when he told me he was a prostitute, but I was like, yeah, that's definitely a you thing, not a me thing. And maybe this makes me a shitty person, but I told him last night that as far as I'm concerned, I'm single until he wins me back, and then proceeded to install Bumble and swipe. And now I've been telling him how I have 500 plus likes in less than 12 hours, and I don't even have to pay for it. I know it doesn't help the situation, which is why I'm posting this. It's a little bit petty, but you know what? Fair fucking play. Honestly, I just need some advice for processing my anger in a healthy way that doesn't involve promiscuous sex with strangers or destruction of any property. I keep having urges to text his parents and tell them what kind of man they raised, and that I'm done with their judgy advice on how to raise my kids, because clearly they didn't know the first thing about teaching their kids to be good people. I know none of this is healthy. I don't want to be sitting here stooping to his level. Revenge is all I can think about, and I recognize how unhealthy that is. The next therapy session is Monday, and I need to get it together at this point. Also, please don't shame me. I know how dumb I am for taking it back and marrying him after the first thing. I've been through a lot of therapy since, and I've learned a lot about myself and my choices, and I've been working on my emotional decision making. I also have health issues and currently trying to balance my high levels of cortisol and testosterone, so this does not help the rage. Woof, tough one. To be honest, I don't know what I would do. It's difficult, right? Because obviously you've got the competing interests. You want to look after your daughter, and so it feels like you want to maintain a stable home with the guy. But obviously, if he's a scuzzy person and is doing all this, then yeah. Before we move on to the comments, I apologize for interrupting. It turns out only about 5% of my viewers are subscribed to the channel, so if you could hit the subscribe button, that would really help out. Thank you. Right. Let's have a look at the comments. Someone has left a comment saying, your children will do better with a solid home without the father paying for prostitutes and a mother in constant therapy. Just my opinion. Cheaters will cheat again, and they're liars. OP said, a very valid opinion. Reading these comments has really helped me see that. Someone else left a comment saying, I want to reply with just one word, divorce, and tell everyone what he did. All of that is more than one word. But do everything calmly. Don't cry in front of him. Do that privately. He doesn't deserve to see your tears. He's dead to you. Literally, he's killed the memory you have of him in your heart and mind. Indeed. Someone else left a comment saying, honey, forgiving once is enough. He doesn't deserve to be forgiven again. Instead of thinking about it as uprooting your children and changing their lives, think of it as showing your daughters how strong you are, how not to be treated in a relationship, no matter how much you love someone. But I do think it's time to move on from him completely. You've already let him waste enough of your time. He's a selfish piece of shit. And him telling you was for himself, to make himself feel better and bring a shit ton of hurt on you. Disgusting, man. 100%. Someone else left a comment saying, wait until you've seen a divorce lawyer and make sure you get a house and a car. Tell him you'll make it public about his extramarital sex and prostitutes if he won't give them to you. Ooh. Oh yeah, because his job is obviously clever. Drag it out and get alimony if you can, and if he adopted your daughter, that's 2 for child support. If you choose to reconcile, make sure you get all his misdeeds in writing and a post-nuptial agreement saying if he cheats again, that you would get the house and the car free and clear, half of his 401k, alimony and child support, and it'll be announced in the newspaper with his cheating smile picture front and center. Don't know if they'll ever print that, but yeah, sure. Heck, I would deliberately offer to reconcile in these terms, then wait for the cheating to begin just to catch him and get all I want. But then, I'm petty like that. Stay safe and strong. Someone else replied saying, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure threatening to expose him if he doesn't sign over the house and car would be considered blackmail and could get her in serious trouble. Everything else is spot on. I just wanted to advise caution on considering that one part because it would give the husband's lawyer ammunition. Someone else left a comment saying, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I just want to forewarn you that men who hire prostitutes, in my opinion, they have an extensive history of doing so. So there's probably more. Please don't trap yourself into a marriage because you feel it's best for your children. Over time, you'll end up being a shell of your former self and perhaps realize it's turned you into a parent you're not too proud of. Divorce doesn't mean they'll be losing their father. It means the relationship is ending. And since he has a history of cheating, it means he's a serial cheater, which also means that unless he does self-intense growth via therapy, he'll continue to cheat. So the question for you is, will it be easier for your kids now, when they are young, or 10 years from now, when they've gotten used to the nuclear family life and become much more aware of why this divorce is happening? I think it's wise to take time for yourself. I generally think most couples who should separate for a minimum of 6 months before deciding to reconcile. This gives the betrayed spouse time to stabilize their emotions and think about what they want with a clearer mindset, and it gives time for the wayward partner time to prove that they really want reconciliation, to earn the gift of reconciliation. And they should be doing this by living their life of integrity while working hard in individual counseling to figure out why they want to do this, what behaviors they need to change, and what life changes need to be made, and how they'll make it so that they never do this again. If your wayward husband cheats while he travels, one mandatory term of reconciliation should be, there is no more travel. And that means if he needs to adjust his career, so be it. Because family and marriage and what will help them thrive should come before the career. And if he refuses, well, that will tell you how he prioritizes you and your children in his life. 100%. Someone else left a comment saying, nobody sane would shame you or judge you. You're not dumb. We just make dumb decisions when we're in love. It was a perfectly normal reaction. I believe that white hot rage you're feeling is energy that can be directed consciously to something else. No violence, no screaming or yelling. Do the 180 and grey rock him. Even if it kills you, it'll freak him out. And only talk about children, nothing else. My outlet was rock climbing, something that out of my comfort zone that has distracted me enough from blowing the lid off. So clumsy at the beginning that I had to use some of that rage to get to the top, physical and figurative. I couldn't meditate, I couldn't sit still, I needed to get physically active and exhausted. It also helps with cortisol, 1000%. He needs to start seeing some real consequences. Talk to a lawyer and see what your options are. There are marital assets that need to be divided and alimony and child support to pay. Working again would do you some good, but that's something further down the road. Talk to family and friends. People need to know because he could turn it around on you. You need to get an all-encompassing STI/STD test. Gather whatever evidence you can, depending on state, and you can record him confessing to it. Check your state laws for that. Don't let him sleep next to you. Do not have sex with him. When it comes to judgy in-laws, I'd kill them with passive-aggressive kindness and write something like, I would never question how you've raised your son and what values you taught him, but I'm at my wit's end and not sure how to deal with someone who regularly visits prostitutes. What do you think I should do? What if he has infected me with something? What if he has brought some disease to our children? What if his work finds out about it? How do I trust your prostitute-loving son? If you need to talk event, DM me. Pretty brutal letter. OP writes, thank you for such a thoughtful and helpful response. I agree on the consequences. When I talk to my therapist on Monday, I'm going to come up with a plan. I'm going to have a consultation with a lawyer as part of that plan. I'm coming up with a list of things I would want from him at this point for reconciliation, and one of them will definitely be him letting me record a confession. Florida has to have both party consent. Our couples session is on Wednesday, and I'm going to share it with him there because I want her to have all of this on record. I'm getting into my OB because I don't know. I'm getting into my OB because I don't care if he says he used a condom or whatever. His words mean nothing anymore, and condoms are not 100%. And he needs to show me a clean bill of health too. Y'all are giving me so many great list items. 100. Someone else left a comment saying, ugh, I'm sorry, OP. Curious what your ages are. Definitely not judging you. It's one thing what he did when you first started dating. If he didn't take it seriously initially and you forgave him and rationalized that, it's totally different to sleep with prostitutes after marriage and in different years. That's a pattern that never changed, and that's very concerning. What happened with your daughter's father? Was it an unhealthy relationship? You obviously don't deserve to be cheated on. I don't think your husband will change if you stay with him. His actions need consequences. Did he feel bad at all once he spilled the beans? I fear for your mental health and the environment your children will be raised in if your husband treats you poorly. Sad face, broken heart. OP quoted, I fear for your mental health and also the environment your children will be raised in if your husband treats you poorly. Sad face and broken heart. And they ran, also, this really hit. Thanks for saying this. Right now I'm not having thoughts of self-harm, but I know the anger will fade and the whole range of emotions will emerge from underneath. I'm trying to be the best mom I can in navigating this, as staying really would affect my sanity and in turn my kids. Someone replied saying, he's 39, so he's fully aware of how wrong his actions are. Once your brain is fully developed, change becomes harder unless a conscious effort is made, and that doesn't seem to be the case with him. I think if what he did in the beginning of the relationship still bothered you here and there, then the cheating with prostitutes once you were married would be even harder on your mind. You and your kids deserve peace of mind. It's so sad that these grown men engage in disgusting behaviors. Definitely. Right, what do you think OP should do? What would you do in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you enjoy these videos and want to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss the latest upload. Alrighty, we'll have to finish there for today. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.